And look, for anyone who's listening to this, if you want to come by and call this a cult, we are going to have problems, you and I. We are going to have problems, right? This is a very challenging conversation to keep moving forward. It is an essential and I think the most powerful conversation in the world to keep moving forward. And people who come over and start sowing dissent and it's a cult and so on, and cults are very specific entities with very specific characteristics, and we conform to none of them. Right? So if you're going to come over and call this a cult, I am going to react to you. I mean, unless you found some magical proof, in which case let me know, and I'll try to make it less culty, right? But if you come over and just say, well, you know, it just seems kind of culty, well, then you might as well just be calling my wife a whore, because you're taking something that I treasure and producing a sick little ad hominem attack on it without reason, without basis, without honor. And I will not give you the resources to do that. You can spread your shit elsewhere, but don't come here and call it a cult unless you can make a damn good case. And then talk to me like a man. Don't leave snippy little bitchy emails surreptitiously using my message system to other people. And so some board is, I can't even remember the name of it, some board has gone up with a bunch of people who are no longer part of this conversation here. And they, I guess, are disliking me and what it is that I do, and they're having problems, and they feel that I'm, I know, a cult leader, the worst cult leader in the history of the planet, but I am a cult leader, and I am intolerant, and I am censorious, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So I will tell you what I think is really going on, and then we can drop it and move on to more pleasant topics. But this is a microcosm of the challenges that we face in bringing the truth to the world, so it's worth spending a little bit of time on it. So when two people end up in a conflict which is not resolvable within the framework of the relationship, then there's one of two possibilities. The first possibility is that one person is acting badly, and the other person is acting well. The other possibility is that both people are acting badly, right? Now, the people who I've banned from the board have acted in a way subsequent to the banning that completely justifies, you know, what it is that I did, right? Because, you know, if you and I were to go out on a date, then we would sort of evaluate each other, and if at some point we didn't decide that we were attracted to each other, then we'd just not, you know, we just wouldn't go out anymore, right? And the mature response to somebody who doesn't want to go out with you is like, well, yeah, it stings a little, but blah, blah, blah. But you sort of say, okay, well, not to my taste, didn't work out, and you know, move on, right? What you don't do is put up a website and start trashing the person who didn't want to go out with you and calling them a slut and calling them crazy, and right, that's just a really sick response to a non-preference for a relationship, right? Everybody's free to leave the board. People, I'm sure. And so let's have a look for this mythical, nice and moral and good and virtuous Christian. This is the mythical beast that I would like to sort of blow out of the fable books, or you blow into the fable books and out of people's minds as a real creature. So the woman that I went out with when I was younger, she gave up a man she loved and respected and treasured, because he would not allow the children to be taught things that he knew and was able to prove were false, right? We had discussions about religion, and she wasn't able, of course, to overturn. And it's not because I was such a brilliant debater, it's just because it's so easy to turn God into fiction that that's why that's exactly why she wanted them when they were young. because she knew for a fact that if they weren't programmed in Christianity when they were young, if the cult doesn't get its fangs into the brains of the kids, then it dies. I mean, it's perfectly aware of that, right? The scar tissue of the children's minds, the scar tissue that forms around the children's minds are the eggs through which religion grows. I mean, that's what they have to sit on and hatch, right? And so she knew that if they didn't get this when they were young, so, she was a very nice woman, right? She would make me lunch. She was thoughtful. She was kind. And she gave up a man she loved in order to retain the right to tell her children things she knew were false, right? She was I'm going to get in. She was a very intelligent woman, very well educated, and of course this is partly what caused all of these problems for her. This is a massive contradiction. So, was this a moral woman? No, of course not. Of course not. Far from moral. Complete opposite of moral. The niceness was a camouflage, people. The niceness is a camouflage. And that's just a very important thing to understand. If you really want to get the life by the horns and get into the truth of things, as somebody has as their tagline on the boards, the first step of wisdom is to call things by their proper names. People who are nice and who wish to mold the minds of innocent children with destructive lies are not really very nice. People who instruct children on how to drink the blood of a fictitious god or go to hell, no matter how sweetly and how nicely and how many coloring books are involved and how many pleasant Christian camp sing-alongs are involved, are stone corrupt. Are broken souls seeking only to eat the integrity and innocence of the young. They're not nice people. When you look at, the Children of God as a cult that many people feel goes too far in the religious paradigm because, a balance of crazy irrationality is apparently what people are looking for, let's find a balance between cancer and vitality. You can see video footage of this Children of God cult where the children are singing and laughing and clapping and playing and so on. And they all look like they're having a nice time. And the Amish will all help each other put up each other's bonds, and they all bring round pies when you get sick, and they're all very nice people, and they're all deeply and corruptly and morally insane. They're not nice people. They're not nice people. They're passive-aggressive people, and that's what the niceness comes from. The niceness is a form of conformity and camouflage. Christina's parents absolutely wanted to help us move. We're generous at our wedding. Help, help, help. That's what they want to do. But they're not nice people. It's all for them. It's all for the fantasy of virtue, not the reality of virtue.
What you don't do is put up a website and start trashing the person who didn't want to go out with you and calling them a slut and calling them crazy, and right, that's just a really sick response to a non-preference for a relationship, right?